Hello world, double thumbs here. Sony APS-C cameras are quite popular among the YouTube video making crowd, and it's mainly because of its amazing 4K image quality while being relatively small and relatively cheap compared to full frame cameras. And the kit lens that they give you, the Sony 16-50 f3.5 to 5.6, is good enough for most situations, especially in non-professional YouTube making situations. But if you want to use the full potential of the camera, you do need better lenses. And I previously made videos on some of my favorite lenses for the Sony APS-C system, and my favorite is definitely the Sigma 16mm F1.4. And this pretty much is the one lens to get if you want to have just one more lens after the kit lens. But I do think the other lens, the Sony 18-105, is a great second lens that you should get to kind of complete your camera bag. And this combo is definitely all you need, or actually an overkill for what you need for YouTube videos or non-professional home videos. And I'll talk about why I think this is the case. Let's go find out. So first, let's go over some strengths for this combination, and first I think is the price. So this is $400, the Sigma 16, and the Sony is $650. So together they're about $1,050. So it's definitely not on the cheaper side of APS-C lenses, but if you go to the one end, you can just go with the Sigma 16 and the Sony kit lens for about $100. So 400 plus 100, so $500, but you do lose out on the G lens image quality and also the great stabilization, or the best stabilization among Sony APS-C lenses. And also the kit lens only goes to about 50 millimeters, whereas this goes to 105. So that's almost twice the range that you get. And you could go to the other side and go with the single, very high quality lens, the Sony 16-55 f2.8G lens that came out a few months ago. But you have to pay $1,300 for that. That's quite expensive. And you also lose out on the great stabilization of the Sony 18-105 and the extra zoom range that this gives you. So I do think that the combination of the Sigma with the Sony is definitely the best combination for the price. And the second strength of this combination is the field of view. And Sony APS-C system having a 1.5 times crop factor, the 16mm becomes 24mm, and 18-105 becomes 27 to 157.5 millimeters. So you effectively have a 24 to 157.5 millimeter, and that's a pretty wide range. And the 24mm you get with the Sigma 16 is enough for vlogging and a landscape kind of a scenario, whereas the 18-105 is enough to give you some telephoto, and also its stabilization allows you to do a lot of handheld work without any issues. And having these two lenses mean that you're gonna be covered for most situations, although you're gonna miss your ultra wide angle lens in some cases and also your telephoto lenses in certain cases. But for the most part, this combination covers 99% of my needs, actually almost 100 I would say, and I haven't had any issues where I wanted something wider or something further. And the third reason to consider this combination is the stabilization. The Sigma 16mm doesn't have any lens stabilization, but the Sony 18-105 that I'm using right now has one of the best lens stabilization among Sony lenses. And it's definitely good enough to vlog with, and it's definitely not a gimbal or a replacement for a gimbal, but it's definitely an option if you want to travel light. And I don't have an A6600 or A6500 which has in-body stabilization, unlike the A6400, so I can't comment on the quality of IBIS for the Sony APS-C cameras. But from other footage that I see on YouTube, it's definitely not the best. So the 18-105 stabilization is a huge plus in any Sony APS-C cameras. And the fourth positive you get with this combination is the aperture. And this is where the Sigma 16 shines with its f1.4 aperture. Being a very bright lens, it gets very good low light video image. And to me, this is the main reason why you get these bigger sensor cameras, is to get better low light videos compared to your smartphones. Because your smartphones, they get good image quality nowadays, but it's definitely gonna give in or give up in low light situations. And the Sony's f4 is definitely not the best, but it's definitely good enough. And the f4 means then it's gonna have a little bit grainier footage compared to the f1.4 that the Sigma has, but it's constant throughout its zoom range. So if you want to keep the exposure the same, it's definitely gonna be able to do that. And the fifth reason to get this combination is that it's a weather sealed system. Sony APS-C cameras, or at least the A6400, is a weather sealed camera, meaning it will survive in marginal weather as long as you give it a weather sealed lens. And unfortunately, the Sony 18-105 is not a weather sealed lens, but the Sigma 16mm F1.4 is a weather sealed lens. So if you combine it with the A6400, it will be able to survive in dust and moisture kind of situations. Obviously, it's not gonna become waterproof and it's not gonna become a GoPro, but it will survive in marginal weather. And I don't think Sony not having the weather sealing is significantly a bad thing, because if it's raining or if it's marginal weather outside, it's not gonna be the brightest. So you're probably gonna be using the Sigma F1.4 anyways, right? So it all works out. So in conclusion, I do think that this combination covers 99% of my non-professional YouTube video and home video needs. And I can shoot wide, I can shoot telephoto, and I can shoot handheld, and I can shoot in indoors and also in inclement weather without worrying about my camera being damaged. But in some ways, I still do think the Sigma 16mm f1.4 is the only lens to get, because the kit lens with the Sigma 16 is much lower cost and it can do most of the things that you want to do. But the cost of $650 to add so much more versatility to your filmmaking, I definitely think the Sony 18-105 is worth the plunge. But what do you think is the best Sony APS-C lens setup? Let me know down below, and until next time, bang!